Malevolent Movies presents The Hunt for Holiday Horror, featuring Festicool. Trevor has selected 1988's Lucky Stiff.
Hey everybody, welcome to Malevolent Movies, the podcast, episode number 12. And this is the second episode of our new series, our winter series, The Hunt for Holiday Horror. Of course, our first title in the series was Ice Queen. And before we dive into tonight's title, speaking of Ice Queen, we need to give the nominations that we've come up with for Ice Queen.
Yeah, so we have finalized our awards. Nick is not here today, so he's going to retroactively watch and fill out his score because he's too busy working. But we've still got Zach, Trevor, and Joe here, just to let you know. But our 12 awards, we've got the 12 awards of the holiday horror, or the Hunt for Holiday Horror, whatever. It's 12 Days Christmas. Fuck it. So coming back from the Best of Bad October, or is that what it was called? Or the Hunt for Bad
October? Hunt for Bad October.
Fucking confusing, goddamn.
Feels like a year and a half ago already.
It really does. But we've got Most Malevolent making its return. That's the film with the worst malevolent to benevolent bonus. Biggest Bastard. That's the individual who gave out the least amount of points.
Quit smiling, Joe.
Joe is not actually in the lead for that award after Ice Queen. So,
oh, look at that!
And it's not something to strive for. You give these films the points they deserve. You fucking mook.
Yeah, it should be a surprise when we announce who won that. Like, oh shit!
Yeah. And Home Video Hero, the individual who gave out the most amount of points. The Best of Holiday Horror. Which is the film with the best overall score, which is, the Best of Bad October from the first series. And then making its triumphant return, as it should, The Spirit of the Holiday Hunt, which Zach was awarded for the Bad October because some people just couldn't play nice.
Well, I thought I did, but that's fine.
You didn't even have to out yourself, dude. Everybody knew who it was.
We all know what happened. We all saw the stream.
Okay, so the new awards for the Hunt for Holiday Horror, Ugly Sweater Award. This is a character or individual from a film that has like the best costuming, makeup, prosthetics, really something that kind of brings you into the picture. The Goonie Award is the best collective debate or bit. So there's going to be a lot of like individual and group effort awards here because it's the holiday season. It's about getting together with your buddies and your family and working together to have a good time or to have a miserable 90 minutes reminiscing about a movie. The Jolly Jester, the individual who consistently had the best bits or holiday quips. Don't even, dude.
We know better.
Yeah.
I wonder who's trying to get that. Yeah.
Hey, you should have saved it for this one, Joe. The Krampus of comedy, the individual who consistently had the worst bits or holiday quips.
No, I think
we can just call this one right now. I think, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna place a bet on it.
Yeah.
Festive Finish is the best holiday or seasonal themed kill. Greatest Grinch, a character that most killed your holiday spirit or malevolent movie spirit. So something that just made you fucking ugh. And I'll tell you what, Zach's movie, which will be name dropped at the end of this episode.
I'm very excited.
There's a character in that I will fucking go roughshod on everybody's ass if he doesn't take it because I fucking hated him. But then the final award, Festicool is the master of holiday horror. All hail the great and powerful Festicool Award. Festicool is automatically given an award because fuck you. So, guys,
sure.
I mean, it's just the way that's the name of the game. Festicool reigns supreme.
Yeah.
We didn't make the rules.
Well,
so we have two awards.
We gotta make sure. Yeah.
We already have 2 awards figured out then. Festicool got his and Joe got his Krampus a Comedy Award. Yeah. So there's 10 more up in the air.
Yep.
No.
It's funny because I was going to say the next time we do a series thing like this, for whenever it happens, we need to have an award for the most time Joe comes in with something and then never gets it out. When he does his...
I recognize that the moment's passed. It's fine.
The moment's always passing.
You couldn't wait 2 seconds to realize that you should have popped it in the first place.
Well, no. I mean, the bits have a shelf life is the problem. So if I don't get them out in
Oh, Joe
30
just
seconds,
learned this.
The Poopy Poppin' Award.
Poopy poppin'.
No.
Okay, so nominations for Ice Queen. So, Ugly Sweater Award. I assume the Ice Queen herself is getting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, of course.
Is there
Her weird, like, Star Wars jumpsuit thing.
the licorice?
With red vines.
Yeah, with the red vines that come out and attack people,
long
and
nails.
the weird teeth, the nails. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody else in that movie that you feel deserves to be nominated?
I don't remember any other like
What about-
costumes that really stuck
Yeah.
out.
What about Big Comfy Ed?
Just his wardrobe. I mean, fuck it, fine. Big comfy Ed.
Elaine, I mean, well, I mean, we had all those costumes right at the beginning, too.
Does silicone count?
Yeah, the white, white wet T-shirts count? See,
I mean,
I
hey,
mean,
really, it's up to you guys. Whatever you want. Ryan, do you want her in there?
oh yeah.
Wet T-shirt, Elaine, you filthy son of a bitch.
Throw Elaine, because I mean, she's in a dress and heels the entire time, and it's freezing, and so I think the costume
Yeah,
makes it a bit.
it pulls enough attention to itself.
This
yeah.
is reminding me. I don't know how we went through the entire episode without mentioning it, but Ryan, you were lusting for the Ice Queen, correct?
I'll tell you this, man. Yeah, when it comes to my, it's all relative. Okay, so in your average, when you watch a movie with a monster in it, the monster is rarely attractive. I can think of maybe only the Bride of Frankenstein. Elsa Lanchester herself
and the
is
nun.
attractive.
Let's not forget the nun, the titular nun.
Yeah, the nun is a. Sorry,
That's where this whole thing started.
well, the nun is a weird. I don't understand my thing for the nun. I really don't, because I've seen her in interviews, and maybe it's just the scary eyes, and she's in a position of power as a scary nun. I don't know. I can't really justify the nun thing.
Ryan, here I appreciate the fact that you're willing to be honest about these lustful feelings you have for these creatures, because it makes me feel comfortable knowing that if aliens came down and they were like, "We're gonna blow up your planet unless one of you fucks us," I'd be like, "I got a guy. I think Ryan would do it."
Hey, I tell you this. I don't know if anybody here is a fan of Star Trek Discovery, but in the first season, one of the characters is kind of put in a position where he has to have sex with one of the Klingon women. And there is a scene of it, and that's all I'll say.
Okay,
she was all right.
Yeah.
Klingon,
I mean, I got hard watching Mars Attacks.
for an alien.
The ridges.
I thought that was a great Tim Burton film. Like, they were just going,
okay, poopy poppin' right here. Thanks, Joe.
The Joe Buckley Award.
Okay, I don't know. This is going to be a hard one without listening back to Ice Queen, but does anybody have any nominations for the Goonie Award for Ice Queen? The best collective debate or bit?
Yeah.
We'll think on it. We'll watch
We'll
it.
have to go back.
Yeah,
you have to listen to it.
Obviously, Jolly Jester and Krampus of Comedy will have to wait till the end of the series. I mean, who knows? Maybe Nick will come in back in with Zach's movie and tank real hard. So festive finish. I mean, obviously, Ice Queen freezing people from the inside out. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No.
hot
I don't
tub
think there
in the
is.
end.
hot tub.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah, the melty hot tub. The fondue. The funky fondue.
The melted Ice Queen hot tub kill.
Because that was about it as far as any funny. There really wasn't a huge, unless you
Body
want to
count.
count, because I don't know if the guy survived. Remember the guy that gets hit by the snow,
The
during
avalanche.
the avalanche, and he does the Howard Dean scream?
I was thinking about the same thing.
I'm going to
I mean,
assume he died.
we've only got
Might as
3
well.
movies, so I mean, we
Might as well
just
put him in there.
Yeah.
It's
Just load
festive. It's snow kill.
Yeah.
Also,
the Dean scream cream.
did anybody bring up last time that we've now had 2 of the 6 movies we've watched for the last for the hunts that have had a hot tub climax? Because Insecticidal also had a hot tub kill at the very end for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I just
What
thought
is
about
that?
it.
Gotta use a hot tub if you got it.
Yeah, if you got it.
Very interesting. Well, wait, was Insecticidal a recent film? Was that like the 2010s?
Wasn't that 2005? Was that?
Yeah, something like
2008?
that. 5, 8, something like
I think it's 5. I think it was 5.
Could be, yeah.
What year's Ice Queen?
2005.
Ice Queen was 2005.
No.
Yeah, Insecticide was
Yeah,
2005.
so. Let me get my
So
notes. I
they're
always
both
put
in
the date.
2005?
Hold up.
There's
was a big hot tub year.
It's a big year. for
Insecticide, yes,
Yeah,
was 2005.
same year.
That is crazy.
There's a hot tub dealer out there who was just selling to Hollywood.
Yeah. Saw 2 had just come out that previous year with the needle pit hot tub almost. That's
Yeah,
where
it
they
was a
got
hot tub. They filled it with hot water. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that hot tub scene in Revenge of the Sith. Came out in 2005.
Hot tub time machine. The script was just written.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that
one
could
could
be
say
true.
Swamp of Sadness is a hot tub. I mean, there's steam
Yeah.
coming off of it and it's wet.
Sahara
And a horse
with
dies in
Matthew
that.
McConaughey had a
Just
hot
like-
tub in it, probably.
Yeah. Vacation from like 1979. There's that scene where they're in the pool
Well,
and fucking.
Joe, you're doing a different bit here.
Joe,
Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, it's a therapy pool, but it's essentially a hot tub. And,
Yeah.
you know, he
Sure.
burns he kills one girl in
at-home water birth was in a hot tub. It was fucking disgusting and horrifying.
It looked a lot like the end of Ice Queen, actually.
Yeah, all pulpy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because Joe came out whole, but then the other thing that had been growing in there that they weren't sure about, that one came out in pieces,
His twin.
eyeballs.
Yeah. It's like whenever they pull the skull out of the thing dog.
Okay, so greatest Grinch. So is there a character in Ice Queen that just completely killed your buzz?
Yeah, and I can't think of his name. He's Bebop or Rocksteady. He's the one who couldn't act and tried to put moves on the booby lady.
Oh, yes, he's bald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts with a
One-
D,
yeah,
doesn't
one of
it?
I got his name. Hold on, let me.
Darnell or
Jesse.
Daryl?
Jesse.
Jesse,
Jesse.
the other guy's
Yeah.
yeah.
He was
Okay.
awful.
Devlin was the one with the long hair and the ski cap that gets killed first.
Yeah.
And Jesse was the one who gets scratched on the face, and then later on is making out with Elaine. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if like Devlin had like a high subplot because he kind of looked like a stoner anyway. So maybe he was like selling weed like near the snow.
Just
Make
next
me
to
by the snow.
Yeah. Over here by the snow, they can't see us.
he wonders why people never meet up with him. I told him, man, meet me up by the snow.
Yeah, I guess they don't want to get high, so I'll have to smoke all this weed myself.
I didn't hate her the whole way through, but there was definitely scenes where I didn't enjoy her, the Helen Hunt character. Like especially
Oh,
like at
yeah.
the top of the mountain when she's talking to the guys. I'm just like, you're coming on too strong. So I'm
Yeah.
going to nominate her. I don't think she'll win, but just to add a little more fluff to Ice Queen.
Yeah.
Well, shit, guys. Trevor, I believe that you have a little poem to recite for us and do a piece festival himself.
I do. Let me pull it up here. Hold on. Oh man, this is a weird one. Festicool's pick was strange to say the least, but our next tale is one of a long-standing feast. A young lady comes home to visit with family, with a doofus in tow, a walking calamity. Not very memorable, you'll forget it in a jiff. This year, I chose 1988's Lucky Stiff.
Yes.
What a flick.
Oh yeah, what was your keyword and your naughty
So
list
my-
items?
Yeah, my keyword was home for the holidays, which this is, and it's, I mean, the whole point of the movie is they're going home for the holidays.
You did it.
And my two naughty list items were I could do no slashers and no sequels, which is most of the Christmas horror comedies or horror
Santa's
movies.
Sleigh 2.
Yeah, it's a sequel and a long running franchise. Let's do a Christmas one, or it's a Santa Claus as a slasher, and that's most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you're watching the movie, you're not going to think horror movie. You're really not.
No.
But I don't know anything about its production, but there's all of these foreign market posters and DVD prints and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I could see this being like appealing overseas. Like, hey, we got the dude from Psycho. We've got a half decent writer. We've got a weird concoction of stuff, and it's comedy with an edge, you know. And it's like I think that they just tried to hit a bunch of marks. And I'll be honest, like there are times where I'm kind of like it's working for me, and it's like I could see how like if a family sat down to watch this goofy comedy about a lovable chubby guy, they could towards the end be like, oh my lord, what is happening here? And I think the most horrifying thing that I've ever witnessed in any of the movies is in this film, and I'll point that out when we get there.
I think that a lot of
interesting.
people in the world are scared of white people for several different reasons. And I think that the idea that we might eat them is even more terrifying.
But there is one part of this movie where I belly laughed so hard. And when we get to it, I'll tell you. But
I hope it's the
rewound
same
it.
part. I'm hoping it's the same part.
It just worked. It's
Yeah.
silly, but I rewound it 3 times and laughed harder every time. So when we hit that part, I'll tell you, because maybe it didn't work at all for you guys. It'll be interesting to see. But I roared.
So the quick
Yeah.
synopsis here is a plump loser, after being left at the altar by his fiancée, is invited to Christmas dinner by a beautiful woman, but her family are cannibals who intend to have him as the main course.
There's a 0% chance that they didn't want John Candy for this role. They were like,
100%.
"Can we get John Candy?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "We can get you John Candy type." And they're like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's fine."
We can
John's
get you
busy.
Belushi.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of this guy, and I was surprised as I was watching the movie, because I think he's good,
Yeah.
and effective. And I'm like, who is this? I've never heard of this guy, and I
Yeah,
had never really heard of this movie. So
Joe Alasky is his name. I actually had heard of him because he took over a lot of the Looney Tunes voices from Mel Blanc when he died. So he's a
Really?
voiceover guy. This I believe was his first live action thing and one of his only. He died in 2016 along with everyone else.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised because this movie is a cartoon. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all physical comedy and gags and stuff. If they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude, Alasky would be great for this,"
Now, Trevor, one of the Looney Tunes guys went crazy. Was that him? One of the Mel Blanc voice pickups. One of those.
Crazy.
Mel Blanc.
We open up with a very old RCA Columbia Pictures Home Video Presents logo.
I got
Which-
a little chubbed from that. It was nice to see that.
I
again.
that sent me back in time. That was incredible. I have black screen, goofy cartoon music starts playing. Over very boring plain credits, just black screen with dark red text, like it's the beginning of the fucking Lion King. The second the cast names have passed, there's a hard cut to footage of a truck going through the woods that I have to believe this is just the shitty copy that we have. I couldn't tell what was happening. I knew it was a truck because I could tell the headlights.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see fucking anything.
I watched the DVD rip and
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, okay.
The second
Yeah,
time.
because it's still. Who knows?
Dude, watching, I don't know if anybody watched that YouTube link, but that's
Yeah,
how I
it was
watched it the
rough.
first time. And it
Stop.
was,
Yeah, because
It was
Tyler
like
shut
night
off
and
his
day.
computer or whatever, so I couldn't watch Plex, so I had to watch
Yeah.
it in.
I couldn't get into Plex.
I always forget when I go to work, so you message me to remind me to leave my computer on.
So yeah, I watched the YouTube version too, and I kept thinking how much I'd enjoy the movie more if it was a
If
better
we could see
copy.
it. If it was
Yeah.
nice and clear.
You know,
It's
even
barely.
even the DVD isn't much better. I don't know.
Yeah.
They must have done like a Betamax or a Laserdisc. I don't know
Yeah.
what this is coming from.
What they probably did was just straight transfer the VHS transfer they already had on the DVD, and then that was it. That was done.
I think they probably filmed it on your old webcam.
Yeah, got 'em.
they took a handheld camera and filmed the 60mm print.
No,
they
we
had.
already did like a camera joke. Go ahead, move on, Trevor.
it's
Yeah.
a big budget. It was a big budget movie. Joe, it was
Yeah.
directed by a major movie star and written by a guy who was putting out hit after hit. As it was a studio movie. It wasn't 16mm.
Roasted,
Just past
Lucky
the headlights.
Stiff. Roasted.
Yes, thank you.
The truck arrives at a
I-
tiny house in the woods, and after the driver is revealed to be Donna Dixon, who plays Cynthia in the film, and she's coming home for the holidays.
Dan Aykroyd's wife.
Oh yeah, it says that they're still
I would have
good
thought
for
she
them.
would have left him because he chases her around the house with a crystal skull.
Fuck you for making me laugh.
Yeah, thank you.
And she arrives at this kind of creepy looking shack in the woods. There's some Christmas lights up, but it's still kind of spooky. She goes inside and we see her dad. We meet her grumpy old dad, crusty old dad, and her brother is there, as well as actually both of her brothers are there, but they only mention one at this time. It's very strange.
I really struggled with the whole brothers thing.
I thought there were 3 of them.
So there's Ike.
There's 4.
Is it Ike? Eric?
No, Eric is the Lee McCloskey, the smarmy '80s
Yeah.
Husband.
boyfriend, not a husband.
Yeah.
He's
Well, I
like
thought they were getting
I thought that was a
No.
whole part of the facade.
He's no.
So he
he's
was
a different guy.
a what do they call it? A target.
Yeah.
yeah, because they
mark.
end up eating him.
And so then
Yeah,
she
that-
found something more robust. Got it. Okay.
Because there's Ike,
Yeah.
Ike the third, Ike Jr., And then there's one other one that's not named Ike, right?
Because Ike the third
Darrell.
is the one who tries.
Darrell. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Ike the third is the one who thinks he's a ghost.
Yes. Which is
It's
a really
funniest
good goof.
fucking thing.
Yeah,
in the movie.
it's a really good
I
goof.
love it. I mean, I'm already jumping ahead on the fan favorite character.
Yeah, like I'm with you. Oh boy. So then, excuse me. Her brother Darrell, not Daryl, Darrell is there, and he looks like standard 80s yuppie. He looks like Christian Bale in
Wonder Bread.
American Psycho.
Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
American Psycho. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
He's typical big suit, big shoulders businessman.
Big suit, big
and
shoulders.
And he has arrived with his wife, Frances. And this is very bad, we learn. Well, kind of. So Dad is going on and on about, new wife. She wasn't sired by a Mitchell. She doesn't have the taste. And there's all this inbreeding stuff coming up already.
Love the taste.
They're saying we got to get some, what about dinner for Christmas? And Cynthia and her brother Ike are going to find out what she says. We're going to find the finest, most delicious Christmas dinner we've had in years. And we hard cut to more goofy music, and we see the Norman Rockwell painting, and we pan back, and we see Ron Douglas slide into frame. This proto Paul Blart from back in the day. He's whistling. He's bouncing down the hallway
Curly
like Porky
hair,
Pig.
thick glasses. I mean,
He looks like Pat
Yes.
before Pat.
Yeah.
it's Pat's
Well,
dad.
I think I can tell you why he didn't get a bunch of work, why you don't recognize him. He's really not all that fat for a fat guy. He's probably
That's
only
kinda
250.
true.
Yeah.
Oh, you think he's too fat for the
no, I
thin
think
rolls,
he's far
and
too
he's
thin.
yeah, he's too fat for thin rolls, and he's too thin for fat rolls, and no one
Yes.
wants a medium guy. That could
that's
be
the issue. You need to be
get
400
it.
pounds or 100 pounds.
Yeah.
There's nothing in between.
right. That's
Yeah,
a
but
good
really
theory.
fat or not fat at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground. No middle sliders here in
I've never
Hollywood.
seen him.
No middle
Buckley's
sliders.
rules of cinema.
Is that what you say to yourself, Joe, after nobody's hired you after Butcher the Baker's and Benevolent
Yeah.
Buckley show?
Yeah, I'm only 270. I will not be hired that way. It's
I'm
disgusting.
right in
You
the
either
middle,
gotta-
guys.
Yeah.
You either got to hit the gym or you got
No,
to
I'm hitting,
pork
I'm
up.
hitting the buffets. Whenever the buffets open.
I was going to say, let's just plump you up, Buckley. I feel like Cynthia in this movie. We never want you to stop eating.
Yeah, I just gotta get 130 more and I'll be golden.
So Ron is walking down the hallway in what I assume to be his house. We never really learn. But he leans into the bathroom to let his fiancée know that he's going to pick up his tux for the wedding, which is that day. And the shower's running, so he doesn't want to go in because it's bad luck to see the bride on the wedding day.
It's bad
But
luck
we
to see
learned
your
that-
bride's bush.
Yeah, but but we learned that they haven't seen each other in 3 days. And
Well, because she doesn't want to see him.
No, because whenever we cut to her, she's clearly not in the shower. She's just standing next to a window smoking outside. She's not into Ron. It's done for her. So then he's like, well, okay, well, I'm going to get my tux, so I'm going to go do that. Then we go to his tailor's, and we get just goof after goof after goof.
Yep.
Most of them land. They're all groaners, but I liked them. My favorite was, I thought Black was supposed to be slimming. I look like the opening to a tunnel.
Yeah, that was good.
That
That
was-
was great.
Very funny.
And
Yeah.
of course, they get an inseam joke in there, as
Yeah.
you'd expect.
The man's
course.
inseam is his castle.
Yeah.
He rips a jacket. He pops a button. It hits somebody in the eye. Carrot bun goes flying off, lands on the old lady's head. Standard fat guy goofs. I'm
I'm
loving
surprised
it.
he didn't try to eat the necktie like a strand of spaghetti.
That's
Well, that'll
Joe,
be
that's for you.
coming up in the movie. He does do some unconscious eating.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
I saw him sucking on a weenie.
Evidently, he eventually finds something that fits, because then we cut back to the wedding, and he's there with his unnamed, I assume, best man. He's got red hair.
Yeah, the friends
Yeah.
never really come back.
It doesn't matter.
No,
They sure make a big
So,
deal out of the friends for no reason whatsoever, huh?
no. So they're talking in the vestibule. I don't know, in the church somewhere. Before the wedding, the people are coming in, filing, and during this whole scene, Ron keeps like taking drinks out of what I assumed was like a water fountain. And they keep talking about, oh my God, I don't know. I'm so
I thought that was holy water.
They say it.
Well,
It
that's-
is, yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing is throughout the whole scene, they're talking about the wedding. Oh, I got something that fits. I'm blah, blah, blah. So exciting. And he keeps taking drinks, but you can't see where he's drinking from. And his friend finally asks, are you nervous? And Ron says, oh, no, not at all. He says, oh, well, you're drinking holy water. And then we finally see that he's just got his head in the thing of holy water.
Hi, guys. My name is Tyler. I like to kill the bit.
Well, and the thing about that is the priest just spit in there. It's Backwash City, so you don't want to be touching that.
Joe is trying real hard to win the award for worst bit.
No, the best bit. I want the best bit.
You're not getting it, dude. You're
Yeah,
not.
you fooled everybody.
I think I can still win it.
Is this our first PG movie?
Yeah, it
Was
looks like it. Yeah, it is.
I didn't even realize it.
It's
I didn't
bloodless.
think about it. Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty tame as far as
Yeah.
sexual. And although there is, as we'll get to here pretty soon, there is a reference to very strong ejaculation. So
Right.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
worry. That's in my bit here. Hang on. We're getting ahead of ourselves here, fellas. So, oh boy. So then we go to the actual ceremony itself. His fiance. Do we ever learn the fiance's name?
That doesn't matter.
And so for
I
the
didn't write
fiance and Ron are up there, and they're doing the whole bit, speak now or forever hold your peace. And the bride immediately yells, me. And he doesn't, he's like, oh, no, it's about if we shouldn't get married, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, me. And she just fucking leaves. And she's like waving to people as she's leaving. It's
and
great.
I'm not shocked because I'm like, she's beautiful. What are you doing, Ron?
Yeah.
How the hell did that work?
Well, but like, I don't understand because he mentioned this is like the third person that's left him in like the course of a couple months. How does he keep landing them?
Yeah, we learned that this is his like fifth time.
Yeah.
This is maybe they all didn't reach, wedding.
The altar.
But like he's been in multiple long-term relationships that have ended badly. Ron, as Ron like goes to like talk to her, he says to the organist, "Hey, how about you take some requests?" And he just starts playing music. That was a good bit. A little bit later in the day, Ron is opening presents. And apparently he decided to have the reception anyways, since everyone was there.
Well, because he
Might
keeps
as well.
insisting, dance, everybody dance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at that point, the food's already been prepared. I mean, it was the day of the wedding. So at that point, the guys are already cooking the food. The cake's already made. You might as well. It's not like he's going to get a refund. You might as well
Yeah,
party.
the cost is sunk.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's
And
true.
he's gonna drown his sorrows in food. So might
Yeah,
as
a little
well.
bit of that wedding cake. Nothing wrong with that.
He
Nothing
does-
wrong
he
with
even
having a third
says it.
slice.
He even says he puts on pounds in times of stress. He even says it to his friend.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been under a lot of stress after all these failed non-marriages.
So they're doing the reception. People are dancing. He's like looking very sad, looking at like the cake and everything. And his friend, and then another friend who has one line.
Oh wait, did you
Says,
mention did the rice throwing bit? I like.
Oh, no.
There's a great shot of as the bride is exiting the building. You it's kind of like a medium shot where you see her hop into like a Volkswagen van or something, and you
Yes.
see all like the people who are lined up outside waiting. Apparently, nobody wanted to be inside for the wedding, so they're already out there. But we watch them turn their heads to watch her get in the van. They immediately turn back to him and start throwing rice on him. It's pretty great.
Just at him. Yeah.
Yes.
And some gets in his mouth. He goes, spits it out. Yeah. So it is determined. It is decided that he needs to, because he says, I'll get back to work tomorrow. I'll be right as rain. Which is a ridiculous statement, but he says it is decided that he needs to go on a vacation, take some time off, take a week, go enjoy your honeymoon, basically. And it's in the same conversation we learn about the other relationships that have happened, and he says one of them was having an affair with a Harlem Globetrotter.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I should have known. Sometimes when we were making love, she'd start whistling Sweet Georgia Brown."
I like that not only
She
would
started double
someone
dribbling and she got a timeout.
well, I like that not only would somebody do that during sex, but he thinks that is that would be a telltale sign. Like if you hear someone whistling Georgia, like if someone's whistling it, they're shacking up with a Globetrotter for sure.
They're getting a Globetrotter.
She was fucking him, but she wouldn't take her sneakers off.
Yeah.
She had Reebok pumps.
And he goes to Lake Tahoe, and he's singing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" on the way there, in a very weird short scene
Yes.
of him arriving. So he arrives at the hotel and says, oh my God, one of my favorite bits. As he gets out of the car, he's like, gives his keys to the valet guy. He's like, oh, gorgeous view up here. Mind if I yodel? And immediately he trips on the thing, on the curb. And it looks like, I don't know if it was a bit, if it was planned or scripted or not.
I think it was an accident.
But it's so funny.
I think it was an accident.
It looks like an accident. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So we're inside the hotel. We overhear a yuppie going on and on and on about his tanning regimen. Oh, I've got really good chemicals in my skin, and I use a blend of 8 different kinds of SPFs, and I rotate ever so often. And we see that this yuppie guy is talking to this woman with like long blonde hair, but we don't see her face. And near her, kind of in the background, we see Ike, who hasn't really been introduced yet. He is Cynthia's creepy brother. But
I wish he never was.
Yeah, but they're there in the scene while Ron goes up and goes to the the front desk to get checked in and all that. He has apparently called ahead about a room, and they have one room left, and only one room left in all of Lake Tahoe, and it's in the honeymoon. It's a honeymoon suite.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it. He's like, oh, guys, it's a religious thing for me, you see? And the guy says, well, this is literally the only room left in all of Lake Tahoe. So he's...
Can I just sleep next to the servers?
Yeah, he's like, oh, just put me in a cot. Give me a cot in the kitchen. I'll be happy there. So that's that bit. And the whole time, during this whole exchange, Ike has come over, and he's just like standing next to Ron, looking at him.
Yeah, giving
real
him
creepy, and
the bottom up eye, if you know what I mean.
Sure, I don't know, but I can extrapolate.
Yeah, if you find Joe at a KFC, he'll show you what the bottom up eye is.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You look at the very bottom of the bucket to the tippity top, and you make sure you got all the chicken skin in that bucket.
Yeah. And they start. He leads him to the room, and this is the honey. We put all the honeymooners in this wing, and then Ron walks down the hallway, and there's just moaning from all of. This was one of the first like really big laughs for me.
Yeah, this was great.
This was so good, and there's four perfect bits. There's one that's just moaning. There's one where somebody's being whipped. There's one where it's 2 guys, which was a big funny joke back in 1988.
Yeah, baby.
And I was just like, I guess that's okay. I don't know. It feels weird, but whatever. And then there's one with a goat in it. Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, it's 80s.
Where does this take place? Is it like Missouri or I forget where
Lake
it's
Tahoe,
Lake
California.
Tahoe.
Oh, where's that though? What state?
Nevada.
Okay. That's
You've never seen The Godfather Part 2?
Well, I didn't know that was in Nevada. I don't know.
Lake Tahoe, Nevada's a big part of that plot.
Did they say, hey, we're going to Nevada? Let's check the Nevada map.
I'm gonna go to the ski slopes of Lake Tahoe in Nevada.
Okay.
That's actually really good. That's a good impression.
Thank you very much, Ron.
I'm losing it. I'm losing it big time.
It's like a combination of. It's like Marlon Brando would have played the lead in Sledgehammer.
Oh man! So they eventually go through the sex hall, and he makes it to his room at the end of the hallway. The bellboy's kind of busts his balls, says, "Oh, even Hitler had a girlfriend."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it must be the mustache. The bellboy leaves, and it's a close up of his face going through the door, and the door shuts, and then we pan back, and it's all of a sudden now it's the next morning, and the phone is ringing. Ron answers it. Yes, I'm awake. Thank you for the wake up call. I'm gonna come down for breakfast. And yes, just one. No, I don't have a girlfriend. And we hear like, it's like, oh yeah, that's what I hear. It must have been the mustache. So he
It's got some good bits.
It's a good listen.
Yeah,
this
really
one's
is.
got a lot of good bits in this movie. So then he's like kind of getting psyched up to go down for breakfast. He's looking himself in the mirror. He's got his jacket on. Just got out of the shower. He takes 2 pieces of toast and puts them in his pocket like it's a hanky. He decides against it, thankfully. Then he goes to leave, and his next door neighbor is the yuppie guy, the tan yuppie dude. Who's coming out like in a robe, getting the paper, and he says, "Oh, hey, we're in here too." And oh yeah, we're the Douglases. Ron lies, says he has a wife, And he's the yuppie guy says, "Oh, you should join us for breakfast." Ron says, "We're actually not planning on leaving the suite, if you know what I mean." And then he opens the door and says, "Well, what's that, dear? Oh, last night and this morning weren't enough, you say?" And he goes, "Oh, excuse me." And he goes into the room and starts just like banging on the walls and making all kinds of. He's like jumping on the bed. I think he's like he rips the blankets off of the bed and like all of his shit falls on the floor. And he's making a whole bunch of noise. And yuppie guys like outside the door like, oh wow. And then it ends with Ron grabbing the seltzer and like spraying it like a fucking fire hose. And it kind of spurts like at the
As
end.
all sexual interactions do, yeah.
He went like, I appreciate that Ron was committed to that bit. He was committed to creating the world to the point where he couldn't just go, he had to make sure that there was a palpable ejaculation sound. Yes.
Yeah.
Ron goes down to the hotel restaurant and has a big breakfast, and I'm talking big, several plates of pancakes, the whole 9 yards. A waiter asks if he is alone, and yeah, I am. And then he immediately starts grabbing place settings, really like in a rush. And then another waiter comes by and asks, "Are you alone?" And then the first waiter responds, instead of cutting off Ron, says, "Oh yeah, he's alone." And then she takes one of the chairs. Great bit. I love the waiters.
It was great.
And then a chubby androgynous boy with a bowl cut and wearing a puffy jacket comes up and makes pig noises at him. While again, more waiters walk by in the background asking and then being answered by other waiters if he's alone. He's done with the kid, and Ron turns to the mother, who is Woody Harrelson's landlord, and he tells her to get control of her kid, and she treats it like he's just being a silly boy. And I apologize. I don't remember that actress's name.
Lynn Shay.
Yeah, okay.
I watched it.
I
rewound it like 3 times because I was like, because of course I'm watching it on YouTube, which was like 20p quality, and I couldn't tell. But I was fairly sure it was Lynn Shay.
Ron is pissed off because he wanted that boy to be admonished and he wasn't. So the little chubby androgynous boy goes over to the table and starts picking at the desserts. And Ron sneakily walks up behind him and grabs him by the back of the head and dunks his whole face into a giant bowl of chocolate pudding, like a prom punch bowl of chocolate pudding.
He was baptized.
And Ron turns to look over his shoulder through like what I think is a window or something. I can't tell. But anyways, he sees a beautiful woman watching him do this. Oh, he's embarrassed. He tries to hide himself a little bit. The mother comes around. She's all, "Oh my God, my boy, what happened?" The beautiful woman comes up and vouches for him and claims the boy tripped. So, we've already got a connection going here. They chit-chat. Ron tries to flirt, and they walk into the lobby where her boyfriend comes by and takes her away. And then another man, Ike, the brother of Cynthia is her name, comes by and pinches Ron. And our uninformed Ronald, he thinks he's a gay man. Watch out, gay man. Ron doesn't say that, but it's a 1980s movie. You got to make sure gay. You got to make sure somebody knows.
And it started early in the movie too. The whole thing with the end scene.
Yep.
Yep.
So a little bit of gay panic jokes there.
Yeah.
So Ron stops a concierge. I don't know what you call these people, but like the front of
Like a
house
bellboy,
staff.
it looks
Bellboy,
like, yeah.
thank you. And asks him very loudly where he can get a copy of Playboy because he's not gay. Who wants to announce in the 80s that they're reading a Playboy?
Oh, you made the news articles alone. I mean, they were fantastic.
Yes.
You had the Hunter S. Thompson. You had pussy pictures.
Joe running out of breath is the best thing ever. Low oxygen Buckley.
Yeah.
Then we reach what is to me the most disgusting scene of the movie. We're up in Cynthia's hotel room, and she's on the edge of her bed. She's putting her makeup on. Out of nowhere, we're seeing a shot of the mirror, so it's her looking in the mirror. We're seeing the mirror. Out of nowhere, Ike, her brother, jumps onto the bed, and he's resting his face like up against her face. It's fucking gross and weird, and he's just talking to her about how much the family's gonna be so excited about this guy. Oh, he's so thick and juicy. Oh, I can't wait to tell mom and dad. It's fucking gross. Oh my
And
God.
their faces are kind of distorted in a weird little mirror.
Yes. Honestly,
It's
it
so
was
weird.
I was so like if somebody had said it was a PG-13 movie because of that, I would have believed it. Cannibals, incest. Cut to Ron goes up in a ski lift. He's talking to himself, and he's, hey, I'm having a good time. I'm having fun. He's trying to convince himself when he's really not. And he hops off, and he immediately starts like sliding down the mountain, and he's able to stop himself before anything crazy happens.
No. Flipping around.
He stops, thankfully, and then he turns to a little boy there. Little boy's all goggled up, can't see their face. And he says, hey, where's the beginner's hill? And the boy says, oh, right down there, right down there. And Ron thanks him and moves on, only to reveal that behind them, well, one, the boy takes off the goggles, and it's the chocolate pudding boy.
It was the pudding boy.
And he just sent Ron down Meet Your Maker Ridge. Bum, bum, bum. So shenanigans ensue. Ron then skis down the mountain in hilarious fashion, bumping into people going down a ski track and getting racked in the balls 100 times by those like little sticks that you know go beam along.
Yeah.
And we cut into insert shots of him. I'll be honest, there's lots of insert shots of in vehicles, on sleigh rides, and skiing and stuff. I loved them. They're really, it's almost like somebody knew enough about doing like green screen inserts to get really decent shots for the background, but they just couldn't match the lighting quite.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not great, but it's not bad. And it's like, it's cartoonish. I enjoyed all of the insert shots in the movie. In particular, later when we see them in vehicles, the vehicles are rocking like a motherfucker, but the scenic background is barely shaking. It's two different worlds. But anyways, lots of fun, flailing his arms around, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he ends up sliding slowly after going through like bumping into a bunch of like what do they call that, like shoe skiers or what are they called?
Snowshoes?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The cross-country skiers?
They got like tennis rackets on their feet.
Yeah.
Because they're all linked together, and he knocks them all over. Somehow it doesn't quite make sense, and he slowly skids to a stop on top of like a lake or something. He's on thin ice, and then kaploosh, he goes in. We cut to up at the lodge. We see Ike with some binoculars, and he's watching Ron flail about in this tiny little broken ice hole, and he envisions him in a giant pot of stew, which looked great.
That's probably my favorite bit of the entire movie, just because I didn't expect it, and it's just he's like just floating around. It's just so good.
He just looks so relaxed when he's in there too.
Ron is pulled out of the water and says, now I know how a Dove bar feels. Comedy. Cut to Ron in a bathrobe. He's freshly warmed up. He's kind of, I don't know what you call it, like waddling over. And
he's like stiff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he's cold
His balls are in incredible pain.
He sits down real slow because his balls hurt. Comedy!
Well, he also says on his way from the bathroom to the chair, he says, stay in there tonight, fellas.
He said in a whisper, I split my little eggies.
No, he does not say that thing. He says the thing that I said.
So he sees a rose. Krampus of comedy, guys.
He's coming for it.
He sees a rose and a note sitting on the table. That wasn't there before. Who could it be from? It's from Cynthia. She wants to see him again. So he runs down to the front desk asking for Cynthia, and the bellhop or the front desk guy reminds him that lunchtime is running.
You better get in there if you want.
You better get in there because he's fat. He's so fat. So he better eat. Ron goes to the restaurant where everyone keeps asking him about his busted up testicles. The inconsiderate waiter comes by again and mentions his balls. It's funny. I like the waiter. He's an asshole, and I like him. Cynthia comes over and sits with him, talking about how she just left her boyfriend, like immediately. Ron can't wait to mention he's getting a ball transplant, and he's hoping it's Mike Tyson's balls that he might get to be the donor. Ron further disparages himself by pointing out that women don't usually gravitate towards him unless they're on the other end of a couch. Sorry, if you guys don't know my bit, I'm basically hitting you over the head with 1980s comedy.
We got it.
Fat balls! Cynthia's boyfriend comes over. He's upset, obviously, and he freaks out, and Ron tries to get up and leave. He says something about, I'm going to go sit in a toilet for 100 years, or go to the bathroom for 100 years. The ex-boyfriend keeps mentioning how Ron is fat, but Ron's quipping back at him. Like, Ron's kind of hitting home runs here. He's doing a good job. But Henri, the waiter, comes over and asks Ron, like, hey, what do you want to eat? And Ron says, I'll have a Perrier shrimp salad and a light automatic weapon with 2 full clips on the side.
Yeah.
His delivery was perfect. I fucking fucking
really
loved it. I
good.
did not expect it.
I liked, like, at this point, I was like, you know what? I actually really like Ron as a character. Like, as it goes, he's a positive guy. Like,
Yeah.
he's a good guy. I like
Oh,
Ron.
you could see how Ron gets ladies,
Yeah.
despite the fact that he's a slob. He's funny and he's fun to be around. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. He's got that great personality.
Ron believes that Cynthia is using him to get back at her boyfriend, and her boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend is like, duh. And then he grabs Cynthia, the ex-boyfriend grabs Cynthia by the shoulders, and Ron doesn't like that. So he grabs the ex-boyfriend's arm. He's like, oh, you hold on there. And then shits his pants because he's like, holy shit, this guy could whoop my ass. The now ex-boyfriend leaves, and Cynthia gets up, and Ron tries and succeeds at setting up another encounter. We have a little moment between Cynthia and Ike, and they lament how hard it is to find a body like Ron's these days because of all the dieting and exercise crazes. Oh, Ike grabs Cynthia and gets really incesty, saying he doesn't like seeing her with other men. They're back up in their hotel room, so this isn't happening in the dining room. But she knees him in the balls, and again, it's like this whole... First of all, I was scarred years ago by incest. Not because it happened to me, but because classic Simpsons era, like somewhere between season 6 and 8, my dad's good friend gave us all of his VHSs of like the first 8 or 9 seasons. And we would watch them and watch them and watch them. And on one of those tapes, buried, and it was like a dozen tapes, was originally barred from airing episode of the X-Files. And I cannot remember the name of it, but it involved
Hicks under the bed.
Yes, it involved, they go there and they find this family of like 3 sons and a mother, and they have sex and they inbreed and they just keep expanding the family. I was fucking like, I don't even know
The Peacock family. That's the episode called Home is the title.
Yes.
Okay,
It fucked me
And
up
Ma
so
Peacock's
bad.
under the bed. She's got no arms or legs.
Yes. I cannot...
Yeah, that's a weird episode.
anything to do with incest, it immediately reminds me of that. I can't fucking handle it. And so anyways, Ike is like upset because his sister is all up on Ron, even though they're only going to eat him. It's fucking... Dude, Ike is a fucking disaster.
Well, it's like you don't make out with your turkey before you serve it up. I mean, he's got a point.
Either way, it's fucking weird.
I mean, I guess.
So she knees him in the balls, and then he immediately, like, he's like schizophrenic or bipolar, because then he's immediately like, grabbing his balls. He's like, Cynthia, why has the Lord been so good to us? Fucking weird. And she's like, because the Lord knows that we love people, and he knows how good they really are. I don't get it.
Yeah,
fucking
weird.
Well,
Standard
they're
thing.
Mormons. I mean, they can't help it. They're Mormons.
Oh.
So cut to Cynthia waiting outside. She's smoking a cigarette. Ron comes out and he pulls up in a horse-drawn sleigh. We cut to a montage of them riding in the sleigh. They're frolicking with difficulty in the snow. Ron falls over. They have a little snowball fight where Ron goes to hit Cynthia and she's like, no. And he stops because he's such a nice, lovable guy. And then she pulls out her own snowball and she gives a little kiss. It's got the lipstick on it. And then she fucking rocks him in the face. It's night now. They're riding back in the sleigh. And Ron brags about knowing which voice belongs to which chipmunk in the Alvin and the Chipmunks family. A little weird. I don't even know how that comes up, but it's weird. He brings up his failed engagements, and then she starts asking him prodding questions about how's your health? Have you had any illnesses or any surgeries?
Recent
or anything?
surgeries.
Yeah. She's trying to size him up, make sure he's good to go in that pot of stew. And so then Cynthia says, you know what? Let's not talk any further. It's cold. And then she leans in, because I bet your bed is warm. So Ron gets hard, and then he starts mushing that horse to get back to the hotel. And I am done.
Cynthia wants Ron to go to stop at this little cabin, stop at the butcher shop, Ike's butcher shop. She said, I want you to meet my brother at the butcher shop. He's a bit slow, but family cheers him up.
She uses that same line later, right? Doesn't she use that exact line twice?
She uses it later on her ex-boyfriend to get him in there. And we know, of course, that it's Ike, but we know that Ron doesn't know it's the gay guy, that he thinks has been following him around. So we're waiting for that funny goof when they recognize each other, and we get it. And of course, Ron is him and hawing and getting all nervous because he's like, why is this guy here? And then Ike pinches his ass, which Doesn't help matters.
I think it was just a misunderstanding.
Well, it is a misunderstanding. It's not a sexual thing. He's sizing him up.
Yeah, he's tasting the meat.
Ike starts saying all kind of weird things about butchery and saying stuff like, I can dress and kill a carcass in minutes. And I slaughtered 300 chickens before noon today, and saying all this strange butcher stuff. And then he starts pointing out different parts of Ron's body as if it were cuts of meat. Here's the brisket, and here's the bread basket, and here's the flank steak, and all this stuff. And, points out all the parts of his body. And Ron is still just convinced that it's a sexual thing. He's obviously not in his mind the concept of these people are cannibals. That doesn't even cross his mind. He's still just weirded out by this coincidence that the guy from the resort that's been following him is Cynthia's brother.
And I feel like that dynamic stuff doesn't read quite well. Like after the lobby stuff and the interactions there, I lost that was what Ron was thinking. So you saying that, it's like, oh yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I don't know if it was just because I'm so distracted by Ike, like I'm literally afraid of him because of how intense he is. The actor is going all out.
Yeah.
And that's Jeff Kober. And Jeff Kober's in a ton of movies, and he usually plays a villain. He usually plays a killer or a psycho or a soldier. He always plays intense characters. So seeing him do a comedy role, I was surprised. So yeah, he's a very intense, actor in general with that energy. And then Cynthia says, "Hey, let's get a drink. Let's go upstairs and have a drink." So they go upstairs to this little living quarters, I guess, because there's a table and whatnot. And we see Cynthia take a pill and break the pill and empty the contents of the pill into the glass that she then pours wine into and gives to Ron, and effectively drugs Ron. And then immediately it takes effect. I mean, it's within seconds that this drug starts affecting Ron. And Cynthia says, "Hey, Ike, why don't you take Ron for a tour of the butcher shop?
Show him the meat. Show him the cuts.
Show him around, wink, wink." So Ron, next thing we know, is wandering around the butcher shop, but he's by himself. Ike's nowhere to be found, so we think. And he, now his vision is all messed up. We're seeing all sorts of strange things that Ron is seeing, because he's all messed up. We get some slapstick. We get some violent slapstick. Ike at one point throws a knife at Ron, and it embeds itself into the one of the support beams, and he pulls out the knife. He goes, "Oh, I got a knife." Him pulling the knife out makes his arm go back and inadvertently hit Ike in the face, who is creeping up on him from behind with a cleaver. We get some violent slapstick, some Three Stooges-esque slapstick.
Very much so.
But Ron eventually passes out on the table, on the cutting table, and Ike is going to begin the process of cleaning him up, disemboweling him, getting him ready for the stew table, or the stew cauldron, I guess. Stew pot, yeah. The old stew, the massive stew pot.
Old stew pot.
Ike does a bit here where he takes a blade and he cuts off Ron's clothes. And we see that Ron is wearing some old-timey Prospector red full-bodied jammies.
Yep.
And we see the shot from overhead, and it's a funny little sight gag.
I would have liked it if it was a present from the reception and he wore it as like good memories or whatever.
You know what?
That
If it would have said Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so on it or something.
That'd be funny.
That would have been, oh, okay. He's going to kill him. He's going to bleed him out. And then Cynthia comes running in at the last second because she's read a telegram saying that Grandma is going to be a surprise guest at Christmas. And Grandma only wants fresh meat. And they are 4 days out from Christmas. So they were going to have to freeze Ron. And that's a no-no with Grandma. So she says, "You cannot kill him." Well, Ike is upset by this because he's like, "Well, what about the assortment pack?" And he sputters something that I listened to 3 or 4 times, and I didn't get all of his dialogue. But essentially, one of the things they do is they send out some special cuts to the needy, some specific people, a gift assortment for Christmas of their meat. And he's like, "Well, we got to do that before Christmas. What are we going to do if we're not going to kill, Ron?" So Cynthia says, "All right, no, don't worry. I'm going to get my ex-boyfriend, Eric. I'll have him come tomorrow. We'll chop him up and he will be part of the assortment box." And that settles Ike down. And so she's like, "Get Ron back to the hotel." And right before they do, Ron, who's laying on the cutting table, and there's some sausage links dangling above his face. Even though he's unconscious, he's fat, so
He can smell them.
He starts.
He's got to eat them.
Yeah, he starts eating on the sausage,
sucking them down.
So then we dissolve to Ron. He wakes up. He's in his bed. He's groggy. Cynthia's there. She says, it's been 16 hours. You got drunk. You're out like a light. He's like, I don't remember anything. What happened? But I must have gotten crazy because my shoes were cut in half because of his clothes. And she's like, well, shit gets crazy when you drink as much as you did, buddy. And she invites him over to a little table because she ordered some room service for them. And then she invites him to the Mitchell family Christmas. She officially gives him the invite because essentially they were going to kill him and just eat him. But now she needs him there. So she invites him to come to her house on Christmas. And she says, oh, they're just going to eat you up.
I really love the trope in cannibal movies where the cannibals do everything in their power to tell the other people they're cannibals. And they do it in this one a lot, and I love it.
Cannibals always love being cannibals. So it's like they've got all these puns, and they like to wink, and they're just happy being cannibals. And I think they're just so pissed that they can't just let everyone know because they love the lifestyle. It confused me for a second because there's a time jump because we see Cynthia walking Eric up to the butcher shop, and then we cut right to Ron out jogging, and he runs into Cynthia with Ike. So I was a little confused with the time jump there because I thought we were going to see the Eric interaction inside the butcher shop, but we never do.
Yeah, well, Ron had to get in his morning mile.
Well, Ron is out there running, and he's out jogging. And he runs into Cynthia and Ike, and Cynthia and Ike have packages that they're taking to the post office. And Ron says, "Hey guys, this is convenient. Let me give you a hand." And
he very aggressively helps.
Yeah.
He's in a great mood that morning. He's loving life at that point. So he's just so helpful.
They're giving the packages to the postmaster, and one very much looks like a foot. And then they plop down another one, and it's very clearly somebody's ass that's been gift wrapped. And the postmaster comes out and says, Hey, what the hell? Stop treating them so rough. You be careful now with those.
Yeah. So there's this whole bit with the packages given to the post office clerk, and one of the packages is slightly unwrapped. So we see that it is indeed a human hand, and Ike's doing his best, and Cynthia's doing their best to cover it up. And one of the post office clerks brings over the head that was thrown. And you think, what is he going to say? What's he going to do? Does he recognize it's a head? And all he does is say he scolds the clerk for throwing the package. And so our heroes are saved. Nobody knows yet that they are bringing in arms and legs and whatnot. We cut to outside. Ike is unwrapping the hand. I guess instead of fixing it and sending it, they decided to take it outside. And he's unwrapping the hand. And Ron comes up right away. It's like, hey guy. And Ike puts the arm in his coat pocket, and it comes out his sleeve to try and, hide the fact that they've got a human arm. And Ron says, hey, I guess I'm going to see you at Christmas. I've been invited to your family Christmas. And Ike reaches out his hand, which is really the disembodied hand that's hanging out. And Ron shakes it, says it's cold. It's a funny whole bit. And they get away with the ruse. And then let's see. Then Cynthia takes Ron aside and says, look, I don't think you need to be running out and jogging and exercising and losing weight. We like you just the way you are.
Which it's kind of weird that she even bothers, knowing that she's killing him in 3 days. He's not going to lose a pound.
I bought into it because of Ike's lusting for Ron's body. Like this is the apex of sexual feasting for Ike and Cynthia and their family, because it's been years. They make a point of saying that it's been years. So they don't want even a fucking gram of fat gone. They want the gristle up in those butt cheeks to stay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because that's what gives it the flavor.
They've essentially just been eating Twinks all year round, and then they finally got a bear. They're not going to waste that.
Just plowing through Twinks.
Yeah. You can eat 3 Twinks before breakfast.
Yeah, Ron's worth 20 Twinks.
Exactly.
That's the exchange rate.
The nice thing about Twinks is that they never expire.
Next thing you know, Cynthia is apparently a pilot as well, and Ron.
They just cut to them in a plane, and she's fucking flying.
Yeah, and she's flying really low because she says, we're running low on fuel. So she's right at the tree line. flying that small plane. And Ron is very nervous about this, obviously.
But hey,
And-
you got to get laid, dude. So you got to ride
Oh,
that
yeah.
plane.
So she's flying the plane, and then it cuts to them driving, and she's driving very crazy and very erratically. And she says, I don't know about you, but I could use something to eat. And there's a funny bit where he says something like, well, that's my family motto, or that's my old credo, or he's like, that's my catchphrase. So they stop at this cabin and to presumably get something to eat, take a break. And again, Cynthia slips some drugs into a glass of wine, gives it to Ron. He immediately passes out on the phonograph, wakes up the very next morning. Cynthia's gone.
Well, they do a bit. It was dumb, but it laughed by the third time because they did a rule of three where he hits the phonograph, the vinyl spinning on it. His head rounds it a little bit, pops back up, goes to the front, hits it again, and then eventually stops.
Yeah.
I did laugh. I was disappointed in that laugh, but I still laughed.
Lucky Stiff got you at this point. So, he wakes up the next morning in the same position with his face on the phonograph that he was when he passed out, but it's morning. Cynthia's nowhere to be found, and he can get a better look at the cabin, and he realizes as he's looking out the window that there's bars on the windows, which is weird. And also there's two strange yokel twin boys staring through those bars momentarily at Ron, because the second he realizes, wait a minute, who are you? They're gone. And Cynthia's not around. And then there's a knock at the door, and they hear a guy saying, hey, anybody home? So Ron goes to the front door, also barred, just, it's bars like a prison, he's basically. And this guy is there, and he introduces himself as Deputy Kirby. And he says he's there looking for some missing persons. And then there's this whole thing where it's confirmed that Ron is locked in to this building with a 10-pound padlock.
Well, luckily, Officer Kirby is able to open up his mouth very wide and suck the bars, just suck the lock out.
Suck the lock out.
And then he gets lock powers. Is that what you're saying?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this running bit, Ryan doesn't really like video games or play them, and Joe likes to mention video games, forgetting that Ryan doesn't like them, and then it riles Ryan up because it's a waste of everybody's time. And so, Ryan, Kirby is a pink, lovable round ball that sucks in things, and then it retains its abilities.
Yeah.
Well, good making a deep cut video game reference on a movie-based podcast, Joe.
Well, maybe some people like it.
Are we going to talk about pole vaulting next? Or is you got any race NASCAR references?
How about lawn darts? Everyone likes lawn darts.
Okay. Anyway, so Deputy Kirby, I'm just thinking about that fucking cartoon or that video game. Same thing. And Kirby, fuck, I keep thinking about that thing. Deputy Kirby. The human being asks, if they're missing persons. He talks specifically about the Hotchkisses. He says they're big guys. They have hands as big as hams. And one of them has an eagle tattoo between his thumb and his forefinger. I rewound this one 3 or 4 times because it sounded to me, and I still stand by it, that he actually said Igor tattoo, which would be weird. But no, he does, as we learn later in the movie, he did say eagle tattoo. Between the thumb and his forefinger. And then he uses his gun to shoot off the locks. So fuck's his name? Ron can get out. And then the deputy asks about the Mitchell house. And Ron says, Mitchell, that's my friend Cynthia's family. I'm going there for Christmas. And then the deputy looks down at some tire tracks and says, are these Cynthia's? And Ron makes a goof about walking. And that's the end, her footprints or something. And that's the end of my segment.
Yeah, I'm up next. All right, and since we're running late on time, I'll try to make mine quick.
How considerate of you.
Thank you. We cut to a pair of horses just going at it, and I mean like really going at it.
They're not fucking.
The horses? Yeah.
What?
I thought so,
What?
yeah.
No, they're just like crazy.
Yeah.
They're just like kicking and shit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Joe, hold on a second. What aspect of that made you think they were having sex?
Because horses were like grunting and like moving up on each other?
But you see them in there running around and kicking out the door. At no point do you see a horse mount another horse.
Well, by the vision of most of the horses was blocked, so I thought that was just a way to kind of like.
I mean, if the sheriff or whatever had said, "Oh boy, those mares are really getting it" or something,
Well,
I would have been.
I retroactively was like, wait, were they having sex earlier? Because it's mentioned by the dad that like they're inbred horses. There's a line later on when they get that really long tour.
It is mentioned. So that's why
something about them being inbred horses. I did not assume at the time that they were having sex because, again, as you guys mentioned, you don't see them having sex, so there's no reason to believe so.
You can't show
wishful
horse
thinking.
Right.
So the horses kick a hole through the wall and shake the whole stable. The deputy drops Ron off at the Mitchells and takes Ike up into the woods with him to try and locate a pair of missing brothers.
Well, it's you're underselling it here. Ike very enthusiastically sneaks into the passenger seat next to him because he wants to be there with him alone in the woods.
Yeah, wants to get an extra slice of meat, if you know what I'm saying. So,
but they also, like, him and Cynthia know what's happening with the sheriff. They get what's going on. They know what he's looking for, and they need to get in between that because the family feast has come up. You can't let that sheriff get in the way.
Him, like, hey, are you investigating alone? And he says, yeah, so his fate's sealed right there.
Joe,
they can chop him up.
Joe, if you ever get stopped by the cops, I want you to say, are you investigating alone?
Yeah.
I just want you to get maced.
So we find out that Cynthia has two brothers named Ike, maybe three. Is it 3 or 2?
There's 3 brothers named Ike.
Okay, so we find out that Cynthia has 3 brothers named Ike, but one of them tried to commit suicide, and they let him believe that it worked, and he's now a ghost.
Yes.
This is the best, hands down, the best joke in the entire movie, is this character.
Yep.
So the boy removes Ron's shoe and dangles it in the air, and then they introduce the family members.
Yeah, because he thinks he's a ghost. That's why Ron lets him do it, because they're like, we don't want him to know. So he'll stop trying to commit suicide. We just let him believe that it worked and that he's a ghost. And so whenever he does this kind of, because this comes back, whenever he's doing this kind of destructive stuff, like trying to take people's clothes off or whatever, they have to go with it.
So the mother has a tattoo of, I thought it was, an eagle on her hand. I just put down a bird. The family is worried about one of their brides, Frances, finding out too much. The father explains that they...
Joe Paz is waiting for the inevitable.
Oh, yeah, Joey, why do you always pause like you're not doing a stand-up comedy routine, man?
No, I'm seeing if any of you would like to interject something. But if you don't want to interject, I will move on.
You know what? That's fair. That is fair.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, no problem. So the father explains that they interbred all their animals, and Ron thinks that's why the horses like fucking so much. But I'll have to cut that line out.
Uh-oh, Jolly Jester over here.
He also explains that the government paid to store nuclear waste at their farmland, and that's how they get money.
Okay, I want to posit something here, folks. I have a weird inkling in my body that at the premiere of this movie, Mr. Dan Aykroyd was front and fucking center. And when he saw that wasteland of bubbling crude, these hick weirdos and these cartoonish characters and landscapes.
He had nothing going through his mind but trouble.
Yes, fucking exactly. I would not be surprised if that's what fucking happened, because 1988, he sees the movie, he's got 2 years to make and then crank out fucking Nothing But Trouble in 91.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure this
makes sense. It makes sense.
You know, it's got to be somewhat of an inspiration. I mean, there's nothing, the other, because there's a lot of Texas Chainsaw in this movie, and with certain references and the weird family and the inbreeding and stuff like that. And Nothing But Trouble to me has always been like Dan Aykroyd's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right down to having the dinner scene, etc. So if let's say that was already percolating in his brain, he thought he could, do what I'm going to do to cannibalism, what I did with ghosts and Ghostbusters. And then he sees this with his wife. He was like, oh shit, I can do so much better.
We can do it. He called. He ran outside to his payphone and he called his brother. It's time.
Then he's like, and Donna's mad. She's like, I'm the lead in this fucking thing. You're going to rip off my movie?
No, see you later, Donna. I got to go. He gets up.
All right, so it's Christmas mealtime, and the Ghost Boy is
Christmas mealtime.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it.
Band, Christmas mealtime.
Well, it's not
Christmas dinner.
Christmas dinner. It's pre-Christmas dinner.
Well, then it's not Christmas at all. It's just dinner.
Oh my
on a
God,
Tuesday.
they're eating dinner.
But it's a
Go,
festive
keep
dinner.
going. Just keep going.
Christmas mealtime.
Please.
Okay, I can
Can't
plow
wait
through
for Christmas mealtime.
Oh, the ghost kid feeds him food. It's funny.
I can plow through, yeah. So the ghost
Yeah.
boy is shoving spoonfuls of potatoes in Ron's mouth, but the father punches him in the face and knocks him out.
He fucking
That's
does.
the bit that I rewound like 3 times and laughed and laughed and laughed. And
Yeah,
it's because of the delivery and the old man and the kid is feeding Ron all the food and it's awkward and he's like, man, I sure wish there's something we could do about it because he's got to play along that the kid is a ghost. And they ask the dad, hey, Pa, is there anything you can do about these spirits that we have? And he goes, sure can. And then he just hauls off, whack, punches the kid straight in the face. And then it just goes, nope. Did you see anything? Nope. And it worked for me, and it was my favorite thing. I ever watched it over and over.
Wait a second. Are those Ike's kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ike Jr. and Ike the Third.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm trying to figure. I'm still on the brothers. I'm just gonna go ahead and add this to the group debate thing for the awards.
How many brothers?
Okay, so there's Ike, there's business brother, and
Francis.
Francis is the business brother,
Yeah.
and then Daryl.
The
The
Francis-
Francis is the business brother's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's part of the family.
So, but it's just Ike and Daryl.
And
No
Cynthia.
other brothers.
Darrell.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I don't know who Ike had those kids with.
Because for some reason
Could be the sister.
my brain
Well-
went back to like there's 4 brothers. Where are the other 2? Wait, are they thinking that the sons are the brothers? I mean, technically they are because of
Yeah.
the lovemaking. Bing bong
yeah.
bing.
I thought that the 2 younger boys were Ike and Cynthia's kids for some reason.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no wife or girlfriend talked about in terms of Ike, yet he's
Yeah.
got these 2 weird sons.
Ike tells a festive Christmas story about a mother fox that chews off her paws to feed her cubs. Ike Jr. is eating a stick of deodorant and tells him that there's a store by the way to buy presents at. Frances jumps into the car with him because she's starting to get suspicious of the family and thinks that they're stealing hands.
This feels like when your aunt and uncle read a book and recorded it and sent it to you for Christmas. Like Joe's just reading us this like the abridged version of Lucky Stiff
Yeah.
to put us to sleep.
Well, you
And it's
see
like,
him now. The cat
He
in
doesn't
the
want
hat.
green eggs or ham, and he's like,
Yeah.
I don't eat that shit.
Where do Ron and Francis go?
No, that's the end of my segment. That's all.
Thank
That
God.
was it?
Yes.
Zach, get us
All
to
right.
the end.
All right, so I have a Tubby and Winona Ryder go to the cannibal version of Bass Pro Shop, which is I didn't have subtitles. Was it Kessler or Kassler?
Kessler.
Yeah.
Kessler. They go to their place. They go to their store, and they go on in there. They're looking for some gifts. And I'll talk about it in a minute. But my favorite, Tubby's really. I have it written as Tubby. Ron couldn't. He was piecing everything together, but at no point does he make an accusation, and it's insane.
Also,
So-
was the Kessler owner, was that fucking Ian McKellen?
I don't think so.
'Cause I'm like, dude, this is like Ian McKellen
It does
from
look like him,
from
though.
from 2018 or something. Like it was very
It does
weird.
look like him a little bit. So he decides to go in there. He's gonna they're gonna get some Christmas gifts, and there's like this thing playing the announcements, and it says the children's pony ride has been canceled due to anthrax.
Yep.
Which is a good goof. And then buy a bunny, get two woodchucks free.
That's a
They
good
had
deal.
Good, yeah, it is a good deal.
Hell yeah.
So then this is where, Ron starts getting his flirt on. Like this is the second time this movie we see why Ron was able to get the ladies. Like
He's killing it.
he's got the skills. Actually,
that
Joe,
silver
you could
tongue.
probably pick up a thing or two from Ron.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you're sloppy and you could be funny probably.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
So
Women like it when you put your hand on their shoulder.
yeah, well, maybe let's not take the touching the women without their permission part away from it. Maybe the talking to women thing.
Yeah.
So he gets his flirt on, and then Winona Ryder's gonna try on a dress, so he gets over and gets real weird with the milking machine.
Oh,
Really,
this is
really,
so good.
really weird with the machine there. Which I don't know. He puts it in his butt.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the sound design is fabulous.
Yes.
'Cause it's making suction sounds, sucker sounds, farting sounds. It's it was an
Every
orchestra
kind of sound
of
you'd
sound.
hope
Yeah, it was beautiful.
wild and freaky and strange. And then it sucks his underwear off, and he's still like he's like post climax, like still feeling it for a little bit there. She comes out, she's
His
got the
eyes are
dress
rolling
on.
the back of his head.
Yes, exactly. So then she comes out in this dress. She looks great. He's like,
I apologize, Zach.
Yeah.
I didn't think she looked that good. The dress was too puffy. I
the
didn't
dress
like the
is
dress.
bad, but she looked good. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
that's fair. She
Oh
is
yeah,
beautiful.
she's she's
cute.
the girl in Friday the 13th Part 4, and she's very attractive.
Did you prefer her after she was mutilated?
No, because her death in Friday the 13th Part 4, she dies in a towel. It's nothing graphic.
Yeah,
She
it got
just gets an
censored.
axe. I don't even believe it was censored. It's an axe flies through the door and hits her in the chest, and she just falls back with the axe in her chest. It's not super gory, but she is wearing, she's wet, and she's wearing a towel when it happens.
All it takes.
Yeah, she's also in one of
all
the
you need right
Amityville
there.
sequels, too.
she's got to take off the dress. She got to, because she's not gonna buy it. Because she's already at this point, we assume onto something. Like she's onto it. She was acting a little weird earlier.
She
She's
gets
clearly,
bad vibes from Ike and everybody real bad.
Yeah, she's not feeling, which is understandable because they're always talking about eating people and stuff. And so
The taste.
yeah, exactly. So then Ron grabs the first earrings he sees because he's romantic, but he doesn't have a whole lot of time. And he's like, he keeps doing this thing where he's like, oh, about his butt sucking that happened earlier.
Yeah.
The pink sock.
So then the two of them decide. Oh.
Jesus.
So then the two of them decide to go out, and he sees the sheriff's uniform, $60, which is a deal for a sheriff's uniform.
Full uniform.
Well, yeah, the whole thing, that's a good deal.
And then you can go knock on people's doors and demand to be let in after that. If you're wearing it.
Or you could shoot
Well,
off the locks.
Yeah,
Um,
Joe. Did you catch that, Joe? That was there. It was Mr. Perkins letting the audience know without straight up saying it that maybe the Deputy Kirby is not a deputy after all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was assuming that they killed him and then put his clothes in the shop.
Hold the phone.
Yeah.
Could be.
Based on what happens in the rest of the film.
Yeah.
So, so then
Got you, Ryan. Fuck you, Ryan.
I'm the movie man. Call me Mr. Director.
Call you what,
Oh.
Mr. Who?
Call me
Mr.
Mr.
Director.
Director.
I'm Anthony
Mr. Boo
Perkins'
Director.
son.
So,
A lot of similarities.
so then they go outside. He pays for the earrings, and the Mr. Kessler gives him is it the watch? It's someone's watch.
Yeah, it's a Rolex
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch.
And it says, is it to
Eric.
Eric?
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah,
It
which
says
was
Eric
the
on it.
boyfriend.
And that's the
And-
first time you really see Ron starting to.
Yeah, because he
Picture-
also I
put it
think
together.
he asks about the sheriff's costume, right? I can't remember exactly what he
remember.
says, but I think he asks about the sheriff's costume. But then he buys the thing, and Kessler mentions that the families kind of mentions they're at war. He says, "Lord said to blow them apart and have my pit bull eat their nards," because
Yes.
Chopper
then-
sick balls.
real hat. Is it Hatfields or Hat?
McCoy's
Hatfields
and
and
Hatfields.
Hatfields and
Yeah.
McCoys. Yeah.
So then. No, the other joke, like the Hatfields McCoy thing was fine.
I just heard
so-
something and something, and it was
No,
like,
Yeah.
those families are fighting too. I forget the names. The
Capulets
Tristans
and
and
the
God damn
Montagues.
it, he's right.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Yeah, I'm a
It
genius.
sucks, doesn't
That
it?
he's
It
two,
sucks,
Trevor,
doesn't
he's
it?
2 in a row for fucking
Yeah.
calling us out on our shit and getting it right.
No, I'm still not 100% convinced on your sheriff coat theory. It's just made or the outfit. It just made me think, possibly.
So the two of them get in the car, and he gives her the earrings, And she gives him a little smooch right on the cheek. And she's like, oh, we got to go. You know, I'm a married woman and you're very fat. She doesn't say that, but this is all implied. You know, she
will
wouldn't
never
like
work.
that. It'll never work.
Yeah, it can't happen. Don't
No.
work like that.
But this continues the trend of like because we've got the two of them in the truck, and the truck is bopping.
Yeah.
It's fucking like
Going up and down.
yeah, it's an earthquake, and there's an intern offset hucking leaves at the windshield. It's fucking great.
It's very good. And then they almost hit somebody who's hobbling along. There's a man with missing a leg. He's missing an arm. He yells, Ike Mitchell gave me a taste, and now he's making me eat myself. And they're like, wow, that guy, weird.
Yeah.
What he
I
said,
love that.
that was weird. I wonder what he's talking about. He said the first and the last name of Ike Mitchell, the one that they both think is a bad man. And they're like, could have been anything, you know?
Wow, what a
blew my
coincidence.
Yeah, it could have been a different Ike Mitchell. Just the taste.
I don't know why I like that so much, and it's so funny to me. You got
Well, he
a
also-
taste of the human now eats it, he's eating himself.
Yeah. And also, I like that Rod then, wait, what's his name? Why do I call him Rod?
Ron?
Ron. Paul Blart.
Paul Blart. He's like, oh, he's just out for a midnight hop. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like really good one.
Yeah.
So then he plugs in he gets back. The family's a little worried. They're like, oh my God, we were so worried that you weren't coming back. He's like, we're here. Everything's fine. So then he goes, he's got to brush his teeth, but a storm's a brewing. And there's a little piece of comedy where it's an electric toothbrush, which means it's just like with an escalator. You can't go up it if it stops. So it's like, what's he going to do? You know, he's not going to brush these teeth, not today. And so he has to go find out what's going on. He goes looking for Cynthia, and he runs into her dad and Darrell, and they're like, "Oh, one of the horses is loose." Right, one of the horses got out, and he's like, "Oh well." And being the good guy that he is, in his robe, hasn't brushed his teeth yet. He's just like, "Yeah, all right, I'm on it," and he just turns and walks away. No questions asked, no light, nothing. Just I'm on it.
Also, when he first gets to the house and he's like meeting the family, at least I think it was in that scene. He like immediately offers like, "What can I do to help? Like you're putting me up.
Yeah.
Like, is there any chores I can do? Can I take the garbage out?"
Yeah, he's trying to help.
Like
He's a good guy.
He is Mr. Congeniality.
Yes, exactly. So then he's going looking for this horse that's out there, which it's not a horse. We find out it is Winona Ryder, and she's hiding in the bushes. She's trying to get his attention when Cynthia intercepts him. It's like, don't worry about it. They'll find the horse.
I
Let's go inside.
apologize if we haven't mentioned this yet. I am absolutely nominating Cynthia's character because of the fucking voice. I did not like the voice. It drove me crazy. I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
I apologize if it didn't bother you guys as much as it did me, but that high society, like arched way of talking, I can't
and
do
it's
90
pointed-
minutes of it.
It's pointed out in the movie. Doesn't he say something about like, you're from the South?
Yeah. That's in
Is that joke in there where he's like, you're from the, I've picked up your dialect. You're from the South or something. And obviously she's not, but like, it's pointed out that her accent is not like, that doesn't exist in the real world, right? No one speaks like that. That being said, it didn't like bother me, but, so Winona's hiding in the bush, and then we get, Ron goes to bed, and he has a bit of a fever dream where he starts to connect some dots and also kind of see into the future. Like he sees stuff that's not happened yet and that we can assume would happen. Basically, he dreams that, these people are cannibals and I'm going to get eaten. Is that going to stop him from waking up the next day and acting like everything's okay? No. He's going to keep pretending everything's okay. So he wakes up the next day and...
he doesn't want to make brunch, does he?
Well, that's a good point. He is large after all, so he must eat constantly, as
Again,
we know.
guys, for the nookie, what wouldn't you do for the nookie?
True.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
a Klondike bar that you can have sex with.
I don't even want.
You know what a nookie
anyway,
is, Joe?
A little bit kissing.
do you think it's a snack?
Into the boob.
No, Joe, you don't know what the nookie is, dude. You didn't.
No, it's
You didn't
it's
grow up in the
bubble.
early
It's the
2000s.
It's the
I
button.
thought Joe was thinking that Nookie was some sort of frozen treat.
Yeah, full of
Oh, I
nougat.
remember those. Keebler put out Nookies for
What
about
would you
6 months.
do for the nookie bar?
Joe, and don't make a joke about the name. Just go to YouTube and look up Nookie by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
And you'll get a whole lesson.
Okay, well, that's nice of him. That's nice of Mr.
You'll learn what it
Biscuit.
was like to grow up in the 90s.
Yes.
I saw Limp Bizkit in concert.
Senator Biscuit. You did?
Yeah.
I did. They opened up for or System of a Down open. I went. I was actually a fan. At the time. I was a fan, especially of the first album, and this was right after the second
I
album
mean, I
came out.
can't blame you.
I
didn't
still
know any
stand by
better.
that first
None
album.
of
I'm
us
going to say
did.
that. I still kind of stand by that first album.
You know what,
Did you
guys?
jump-
I would totally have sex with
jumped
the
up-
nun while listening to Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
But I
I'd
will
throw
say
on
this.
chocolate starfish
will
and
say this
me
was-
and the nun.
I will say this was pre-Chocolate Starfish, but it was a hell of a show. It was a high-energy, big rock and roll show with a bunch of lights and all kinds of stuff. And System of a Down opened, and it was a good show. It
What
was
a show.
solid rock show.
Oh man, I mean,
Damn.
I would sit through
That would've been
anything
great.
initially just to get to System of a Down, man. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was worth it.
That's
That would
forgivable.
have been worth it.
Ron's he's a little uneasy because he did have that fever dream last night. And so he's like, Cynthia, I think sums up with Ike. I think we need to go. They had made a plan, like, we got to go. Obviously, something's wrong with Ike, the brother that you're super duper close to and you're really freaky family. It's just Ike. It's isolated to him. And so let's get out of here. Me, you, your brother, and his wife. And then Cynthia's like, no, here, let me show you something. She opens this very large box that only contains a ring, which I thought it was really funny that the box is so big.
huge.
Why not use a ring box? Yeah. And so she basically is like, this belonged to my great grandmother. Someday I hope that you'll put this on my finger and we will we'll be married. And you and me will be married forever. And he's like, that's enough. I'm staying here. I don't care.
Zach, if you propose to Maddie, I hope that's how you do it.
do you think you and me could do this forever, baby?
Hey, does this look good?
I promise I won't eat you.
Well, and it's so crazy. He his worries are out the window. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I could die. We could all die. He could eat me. But she wants it, so
Yeah.
hands are tied here.
Hands are tied.
And so
I'm gonna get to make a baby.
yeah, we're gonna make a baby. We're gonna be happy. And so
We get to make a Klondike bar.
she'll get him a nookie bar, and everything will be fine.
I like Joe's thinking look. It's just he has such disdain for us right now. But I'll give you credit, Joe. I know your brain, the gears are still turning. You're waiting for the next joke.
Yeah.
He's going to come smack us with something good in like 10 minutes.
Well, you know what I think is happening is earlier you mentioned Limp Bizkit. You told him not to say anything about the name. And I saw Joe sink into his chair and he said Mr. Biscuit, which he knew he could get away with, but he has 6 different soggy biscuit jokes running around in his head right now that he's not allowed to say, and it's eating him up inside. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that Rolodex in Joe's brain is just flying through the
Yes.
files like weenie drip.
It's like the beginning of
6 maybe.
Ghostbusters. They're just
Yes, that's what's happening. I've been watching him since that happened. Oh, that's good.
Trevor.
He's not sure. So anyway, Ron goes downstairs and meets the Mitchells. They all start taking pictures of him.
Yeah.
And they're all going, ooh, and all kinds of things. Cynthia then introduces him, takes him over, walks him over to the guest of honor, Grandma. And Grandma asks if they ran a urinalysis on him. Then the Christmas hoedown begins and the music kicks off and they all start dancing around the house.
They're dancing to Limp Bizkit.
So they're all dancing and Ron dances with a few people, a few younger ladies that look like they're pilgrims. And then Darrell reveals that Francis is in the kitchen, apparently. During this whole time, Ike is walking these 3 dogs, in the house through all these dancing people, and the dogs run through the window, and Ike is dragged through the window with them.
Good comedy.
It's very good. I like that.
Yep. Ron goes to the kitchen looking for Francis, and instead finds 4 old ladies, waiting, just sitting around this large stainless steel table. And he says,
like a
how's
medieval-
dinner?
Is there a medieval mace on the table?
Yeah, there is. There's
Okay.
a mace.
Yeah, there's a mace, and there's like a hook or something in the middle.
Yeah.
Maybe like a drain in the middle. There's something in the middle. And I lost my spot. Oh, the 4-year-old lady. Yeah, 4-year-old ladies are standing there. He asks, how's dinner? And they said, oh, looks good. Comedy. He goes back out front. The Mitchells are still dancing. And at this point, more like the whole extended family is there now. It's much more than just the dad, Ike, the boys. Like there's uncles, there's a weird guy with a big camera taking pictures, there's a bunch of pilgrim looking girls there. Yeah, there's like 20 to 30 people there now.
And they're excited, they're ripping shit off the walls.
Yeah.
Sure. It's at this point, somebody comes up to, so this whole time people are coming up and like dancing with Ron very quickly. They'll get a photo. Somebody does that. We don't see her face. But they start talking, and we reveal that it's Frances. She's like into disguise. She's in like one of Grandma's old dresses or something. And she kisses Ron. They then flee the hoedown, and she reveals that Ike tried to kill her. And then at that same moment outside, Ike like appears and swings a hatchet at them, misses, hits the tree or something. And on the head of the hatchet is stuck in the tree. Ron grabs it and goes to attack, but it's just a stick. There's no hatchet. Sharp piece on the end, comedy. They run away and they meet up. They basically like catch up to the dogs. The dogs are tied out in the yard somewhere. And at this point, the dogs are looking vicious at him. And Ron says, "Look over there, an overturned truck of gravy train." And the dogs all go, "Huh?" And look. And then we cut back to them, and they're running away. And he says, "It's the oldest trick in the book."
Well, and also they're like overgrown like poodles or something. I don't know what that breed is, but it doesn't look very vicious.
Yeah, I have to agree with Joe on this.
Yeah, they're not what you would expect for like guard dogs.
Yeah.
No, I was expecting like a Doberman or a pit bull,
like a German Shepherd.
They run back, and as they are leaving, Ike releases the dogs, who then attack Ike. Ron and Frances eventually get back to the house where the Mitchell clan is kind of outside now, and they say, "Oh, Ike tried to kill us. We gotta go get help. We gotta call the police or something. We got blah 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 blah." And Cynthia's there, reveals that Ron finally gives up the whole thing. Says, "Hey, we're actually gonna eat you for dinner." I'm forgetting what she says exactly, but she reveals that, "Hey, no, we're gonna eat you." Before anything else can really happen, the Kesslers arrive. And they start shooting at the Mitchells. Ron runs over to the old man Kessler for help, the guy who owns the shop they saw earlier. And he says, "You're our dinner now. We have family visiting too." So either way, he's going to get eaten.
So, like, what I kind of wish had happened is instead of the whole family feud thing, I wish it had gone more in the direction of there's just the one family, and they're eating tons of people to keep people... or to keep the discovery away so they can have Ron. And it was more of like a Ron, like, just like him versus the Mitchells. Like, I wanted to see him decimate that family.
Like Home Alone?
Well, sure, a reverse Home Alone, like something, yeah. Because it's just, I hated the family, I hated the incest, and I like Ron. And I wanted to see, like that grandpa punched his... grandson. I wanted to see Ron just fucking, and then you get a little bit of that. You get a little bit.
Yeah,
of
I get some.
But I wanted to go like 15 minutes of Ron just beating the fuck out of this family.
How about this? It's time to cook him, but they're completely full of sheriff and everybody else who came around. They got no room for Ron.
And that's the bit. They killed Ron. They're just, oh, I'm so full.
No, he gets to join the family because they were so full that they can't possibly eat him. They're going to save him for next year.
He's one of them now. I got you.
Yeah.
So the two families are having a good old-fashioned shootout. Mitchells are kind of run up into the house now and firing back at the Kesslers, who are in like the bushes, really. Ron and Frances are dodging gunfire like in between in the road between the two families. They run over to the stables and release all the horses, and they ride out on two of them. But these horses are like headbutting each other, and there's some comedy. Ron's on a horse. Yeah, he looks like he's going to fall off, yada, yada, yada. The horses headbutt each other, and they run into a tree. Just run straight into a tree, they all fall off. Near that, Ron and Frances find an old Jeep, but they decide not to run. They're going to actually fight back for the first time in their lives. They grab some pitchforks and rakes and rope. and go back to the farm. And we see Ron, they like standing there ready to fight. He's got his tie wrapped around his head.
He's going Rambo.
He's ready. Yeah, he's Rambo style. He's ready
He's
to
Rambo.
go. He's Rambo. And we get, we see one shot of Frances hiding in the tree, but the Mitchells don't see her there. So Ron is basically the bait. He's egging them on, saying, "Hey, come on, get me." They all head over there, and some of them end up stepping on rakes that fly up and hit him in the head. Comedy, hilarious.
He takes 2 of them down. It's like I've not seen them get back up.
That's a kill shot.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
Done.
I would actually really like that in like an adult Home Alone style movie. If there's like an explosive put at the end of the rake, so when it hits them in the face, their fucking head explodes.
Or they have like a knife.
Yeah,
you have a knife on the end.
Yeah.
Like a rusty nail right through the eyeball.
Or something, yeah. So Ike then goes, he says, "Fuck this, I'm going to go." He runs and goes to fight Ron. But Ron has tied the rope to like the very top of the tree, apparently, and he like swings in like a wrecking ball right into Ron. And then I wrote down Ron does some Bugs Bunny type shit, and Ron and Ike start punching each other. Yeah, so they're just trading blows, just like one will punch the other, and they'll react, and then Ron will punch Ike, and they'll react, and then Ike will then punch Ron, and they just trade back and forth like that. Eventually, Ron slams down with his foot onto a rake that Ike is standing over, and it hits Ike in the dick, and that's it for Ike. He goes down after that.
Dead.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right
kill
in the
shot.
family jewels. The Mitchell jewels.
Yep.
Yes. Cynthia appears and Ron breaks off the engagement. She tries to like reason with him a little bit, tries to win him over. She says, no, we're done. The engagement's over with. Then he and Frances drive off, get in that Jeep they found, and they peel out, and Cynthia gets sprayed with a bunch of mud, and they leave. Then it's a super hard cut to Ron and Frances' wedding.
Super hard.
The pastor then very quickly rushes through and if anybody has a reason these two should not be wed, forever hold your peace. Congratulations, kiss your bride, you're married.
I thought Cynthia was going to show up. And either try to kill them or be like, I actually love you now.
Actually,
You know.
Even better than that, Cynthia shows up to kill him. It makes a big deal out of it. But all of the previous women from Ron's life show up because they're like, no, he's the one that got away. Absolutely. And they just fucking tear Cynthia to shreds.
Yes.
It's perfect. It's a perfect ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're married, and then they go outside, and they get in the car, and they drive off, and that's the end of the movie.
Yes.
It's so abrupt.
It's like, and there's two quick little end goofs. One is at the back of the vehicle, the wedding vehicle, driving off and says, "Finally married," because he's had so many close calls.
Yep.
And then the shit's not tied very good. So as they're going down, the cans and stuff that are dragging, as they go down the road, the cans are just like shooting off in all kinds of directions. And I laughed at that. I was like, all right, nice. And I applauded the end of Little Stiffy.
And that's it.
What was it called? Stiffy?
Lucky Stan.
Yeah,
Lucky Stiff.
Hard Stiffy. That was a
Little
different-
Stiff.
All right, that is Lucky Stiff from oh, my brain. All right, from Malevolent to Benevolent, because Joe has just been the worst. Just Joe, you go first.
Okay. I thought this one wasn't too bad. I was kind of impressed with some of the comedy. I didn't think
It's
it was
okay
too
to
bad.
say Malevolent, Joe. It's okay.
Yeah.
You've
I'm not
done
gonna be
very
upset with
well.
you.
You've done very well. It's okay. Because I can see it in your eyes. It's like lies.
Yeah.
In Joe's brain right now, all he can see is Reddit. He sees the word Reddit. And he's like, what would they say? Can I have my own opinion? Am I going to be offending them?
Joe, go ahead, and I'm gonna dig up on Reddit what they think of Lucky Stiff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I wasn't like extremely enthused with this one, but I didn't think it was too bad either. I think it's kind of like a middle line movie. I'll go Benevolent. That's fine.
Do you want to specify how far in?
Probably a 1.
That means just over the line because you're talking
Yeah.
actual rating.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't look up Lucky Stiff on Reddit because it's all blowjob videos.
Yeah, that's gonna be what it is. Yeah.
Yikes.
Mostly male on male blowjobs. Yes.
And there's like 3 other one or 2 other Lucky Stiff movies, so there's like 2 or 3
Yeah.
total.
Yeah,
and
there's a
none of them.
musical
None of them.
There's a musical. Yeah, there's like very little about this movie online.
Which is shocking, given its pedigree.
I'm gonna go Benevolent on this. I don't know how deep into Benevolent necessarily yet, but I love this movie. I fell in love with this stupid fucking movie the other day when I watched it. This was my biggest long shot. So the other 3 movies I had on here were very like they're movies that we watch basically. Like they fit in with everything else. This one definitely doesn't seem to fit in with the other stuff that we have watched, but I think that's why I wanted to do it so much. But yeah, it's strange to talk about this movie in the way that we've talked about like Insecticidal, Sledgehammer, and Blood Diner. Because this is, like I said, this is a PG movie. There's no kills, really. All the kills are off screen. There's some bits, some goofs with, like, amputated limbs and an amputated butt, which is funny. But, yeah, it's I love it. It's a benevolent movie. I would absolutely watch this again. Yeah, I really hope. I know there never will be a better copy available, but I hope
this
somehow.
could get released on Blu-ray.
I hope
I can
somewhere
definitely see
some intern somewhere finds a 35mm print of this, dusts it off, and throws it online somewhere because that would just make me very happy. So,
Yeah.
Zach, what did you think of Lucky Stiff?
It's got to be Benevolent. I genuinely this is like stupid planes, trains, and automobiles kind of charm
Yes.
to it. It's stupid but fun, and I had a good time watching it. I would watch it again if it wasn't potato quality like it is on YouTube. It's dumb. It's fun. They play it loose as much as like some of the jokes maybe didn't age well.
Gay! Not as bad as I expected, though.
Right, you kind of, when you see a movie came out in 1988, you got to be like, well, there's going to be some gay jokes, and there, well, he's fat, so he's going to be a wrecking ball at some point.
Oh, God, we might see Chevy Chase.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be terrible, Joe.
Yeah.
But
In
I've
the
got to
80s,
go.
that's not a death sentence, Joe.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
like
an 80s appearance by Chevy Chase is like incredible.
He
Yeah.
could be Fletch. He
'Cause
could
all of a
be
sudden you're
Fletch
watching-
Lives.
I'm surprised
Christmas
you know
Vacation.
Yeah, and Fletch is a masterpiece, Joe.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
okay.
And don't get me started on the vacation films. Even
Yeah.
come on, Jimmy. God damn it, Joe.
that. Bucket vacation.
It's just you don't know anything. It just whatever.
So I'd say Benevolent. Just like
you,
over the
Zach.
line. Just over the line. Like, because it's hard to argue that it is a good movie. It's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it has charm. If this movie were made in 1998, I guarantee it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be as campy. It wouldn't be
No.
as charming as it tends to be. I fell in love with Ron throughout the movie. He's kind of the guy you root for. And yeah, so I gotta say Benevolent. I'll go Tyler.
You guys are going to make me the fucking Grinch.
Yep.
Oh, no.
I am sorry. I'm going Malevolent.
Get off Festicool's dick.
Yeah.
I'm not going hard Malevolent. So there's a couple things.
That's fine.
I appreciate Trevor's honesty in stating that this isn't like a real Malevolent movie. I absolutely think that in line with the film itself, this is kind of like the incestuous cousin. It came out weird and raw. It's like, I get it. It has all the hallmarks of what would be in a Malevolent movie. It absolutely does.
If we can watch Eye Murders, I think we can watch this.
Yeah, no, that totally fair and totally appropriate. Hey, it's on IMDb, it says horror, so I don't question it one bit. So it's just, there's a lot of stuff that I love Ron. Loved Ron's comedy. Everybody else didn't like. Didn't like Cynthia,
Yeah.
didn't like Ike. I really didn't enjoy anybody. I liked, what's her name, the girl, Winona Ryder?
Francis.
Yeah, I mean,
Francis.
I liked the actress. I mean, she didn't have a whole lot of great stuff to do, but I like the fact that those two got together. I think that there could have been a better movie if it wasn't centered around the dark stuff. It's like, I would love to just see Ron go on vacation. Like, that's kind of what I want. So I'm not going to dock points because it's not like a real proper Malevolent Movies movie. It's mostly just because there are things that I really did enjoy. I laughed out loud. I probably laughed out loud more in this movie than I have in other Malevolent movies that I truly loved. But it didn't have it just didn't have. Okay, I know what it is. It didn't have the spirit of sitting around and taking pot shots at a movie where a bunch of guys got together to make a horror movie because they only had enough money to make that. There was money put into this. It had a bunch of names behind it. So it's kind of like, you know what? Like, I'd rather watch Hot Shots. I would rather watch, there's other movies I'd rather watch over this. I'd rather watch Nothing But Trouble. So I don't want to,
me too.
I want to take the pain away from saying it's Malevolent because it doesn't deserve that. Ron is a wonderful man. Alasky.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Alasky, you're a wonderful dude. Rest in peace. Love the movie. Perkins, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Because of you, we got Nothing But Trouble. But I'm gonna be the bad guy this episode. So Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're gonna have to be a little bit of the bad guy because I have to say Benevolent. Not a strong Benevolent, obviously. Just over the line, Benevolent. I think I would have liked a lot more if I could see it better. My friends, because we were just bad copies.
This was a perfect film if it was in 1080.
It would have helped me because I quickly, whenever I see something that I visually is because it's a bad copy or something, I have a hard time keeping my attention. And this took me like 2.5 hours to watch. I was distracted a lot, but I still laughed a lot. And it's, to me, it's a fascinating movie. When you look at the director, was Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates, of course, and multitude of other films, but he only directed 2 movies in his life. Psycho 3, which is one of the sleaziest mainstream movies to come out of the 80s. I love it. And then 2 years later, he does a slapstick comedy like this. A comedy about cannibalism and weird families in the backwoods. So it kind of still fits in with the Norman Bates-esque, thing. But it's just, I can't, of all the people to direct this kind of movie, Anthony Perkins, it's fascinating. And he never directed again. He only made those 2 movies as a director.
Yeah. Well, when did he die? Was it pretty recently after?
I think he died in the mid-90s because he's still acting. He did Psycho 4 and all kinds of stuff after this.
Yeah.
But I laughed. There was a lot of good goofs. I liked a lot of the actors. I didn't like the characters so much, but I liked seeing a lot of these faces. These were faces that you see pop up throughout the movie.
Oh, no.
Pop in, pop out.
Fumbled it on the 3-yard line. It's not going to be happy.
That cut off. It's Buckley. It's Buckley's fault. And it's Limp Bizkit shit. And because we had to record your fucking thing before this, and the computer's been struggling ever since. We blame you.
We didn't lose too much, I don't think.
No.
Anyway, long story short, not a lot to say about it. Does it fit in the Malevolent movies mold? I don't know. I wouldn't. There's nothing. It's not a horror movie. I wouldn't even say it's horror comedy, except for the fact that if a movie has cannibalism, I guess you call that horror. Nevertheless, I really enjoyed it. It's a Christmas movie I'd never seen or really ever heard of, and I had a good time with it. I laughed quite a bit, so I definitely Benevolent.
All right. Well, guys, we got some nominating to do before Zach reveals his movie.
Oh boy.
Did we have any ugly sweater nominations? So like some good costuming. Did anybody bring you in the holiday spirit?
I think Ron in his big red jumpsuit is the one from this movie.
Yeah.
Ron jumpsuit.
And would one argue that it was because it was a costume kind of, it was a bit when he's got all the hoses down his pants, sucking his ass and his wiener.
Yeah, why not?
Would we consider that? I mean, I think it was a separate costume probably to make it work. It's because there's something moving around in there. I think there was some.
He is technically wearing a sweater, I think, in that.
I liked his Roger Moore yellow jumpsuit when he's skiing too.
That was good.
Okay, I was waiting for a Beach Boys cover.
Okay, Collective Bits already put in how many brothers or really who's in the Mitchell family.
Yeah, the family tree of the Mitchell family is in.
Oh well, the Nookie.
The Nookie.
I was going to say the Limp Bizkit stuff is pretty good in this
And it
episode.
still hasn't been resolved.
What is a Nookie?
I looked at the lyrics. And
How do nookies work?
Fans, unfortunately, of Malevolent movies who are here for the film discussion and review, what do you think is a nookie?
Yeah, you can weigh in.
Yeah.
What wet or dry hole do you think is a nookie?
Yeah.
God.
If the nookie was a snack cake, what would it be? Graham cracker, cookie? What? Give us the
Oh, not a
ingredients of
graham
what you
cracker,
think.
not a
Because
graham
Joe obviously
cracker.
thought it was some sort of snack.
Yeah,
Honestly,
zebra cake.
Yeah.
yeah. What sort of snack would it be?
This is going to be a tough one. I don't really know if there's anything that's worthy, but festive finish.
I don't know of anything.
Okay, I'm
Not
gonna
that we should.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bend the rule. I'm gonna bend the rule here. And
Ooh,
I don't
okay.
think it should win, but I just like for the lols. I think we should put for festive finish for this is Ron's face after he gets sucked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's our finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's implied that
Yeah.
he went all the way with that thing.
Well, how about we'll just put Ron's finishing face
Yeah.
Sure.
because like he.
Hey, we didn't say
He
what
goes
kind of
big.
finish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then greatest Grinch. I am nominating. I'll put Cynthia's voice to be more specific. But is there any
Yeah.
other characters that really just killed your buzz?
No, not really. I mean, the yuppie Eric, I guess, but he's
I-
not in it
yeah.
that much.
Yeah,
He
and I
plays
like
his
him because
part,
he's
though.
that dude. He's in so many '80s movies playing the same character,
Yeah.
Lee McCloskey. So I liked seeing him. I was like, oh, the guy, the asshole brother, boyfriend from Just One of the Guys. And
Yeah. So I would just say Cynthia.
Okay.
yeah,
myself.
Cynthia was the drag because she wasn't very compelling either. I mean, she wasn't a fun
Yeah.
character. And when she kind of leaves the story a little bit toward the end, when Francis comes in, Cynthia's not as big a part of the story. I was okay with it.
So I think Zach, you should save your poem for. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't tell the audience, and you. Well, it doesn't matter because they're going to see the name of the movie anyways.
Yeah.
The
So why don't you
thumbnail,
save your
yeah.
poem, but let us know what movie you picked.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the movie that you guys are going to be watching, my keywords being Winter Storm, but it couldn't have a killer Santa, and what was the other thing?
No comedy.
No comedy.
No,
Intentional
Yeah.
comedy.
Couldn't intentionally be a horror comedy or anything.
Oh, and this is not. I
This is
will
not.
stand. I will, to my dying breath, say that this
Yeah.
was not meant to be a comedy.
Yes. And so you're going to be watching 2012's Christmas with the Dead. Now, this movie
okay.
was freaking buried. I could not find it on Amazon. I found it on Amazon, but it's not available. You can't get it on any streaming services. I had to have Tyler go to Russia himself and bring it back from Russia as a DVD rip.
Yeah, I did find a DVD rip on a Russian blog.
It was
Wow,
buried.
all right.
It was gone. It is not available for purchase. The trailer for it is on YouTube, and one of the comments on it, the person who posted the trailer onto YouTube, someone commented and was like, "This movie sucks," and the guy responded like, "Yeah, okay, how did you find it?" Like, there's some shit here. They didn't want this movie to be watched. I think. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
But that's what
well,
you're gonna be watching. Christmas with the Dead.
oh my God.
So it's on my Plex. I'll try to remember to leave my computer on this week.
Well, boys and girls, we had yet another wonderful episode of Malevolent Movies, The Hunt for Holiday Horror, and hopefully it found you in good spirits and your cheeks are red with laughter as you heard us, one by one, take down Joe Buckley a few pegs. I remember one time at the mall when Joe Buckley was forced onto my lap, and within seconds he was peeing himself and tapping his leg. Santa was so angry that he's never allowed a Buckley to come on his lap ever again.
No.
Ho, 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 ho.
Yeah.
All right, Santa.
I got a present for you, Santa. Open it up. Open up my present, Santa. Oh, it's that Yeti poop.
Yeti poop.
Yeti
Damn
poop,
it,
folks.
Joe. Damn it!
All right, boys. All right. Holy shit! Everybody get some sleep.